Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here today, and welcome to this new climate talk that Porto, Portugal is offering to the wine industry, in which we will try to approach a highly necessary topic, waste management and circularity. Unfortunately, in the wine industry, we generate a large amount of both organic and inorganic waste. The regenerative principle of the circular economy, based on the idea of eliminating waste, offers the industry a way forward. It encourages us to approach the minimization of waste streams throughout our value chains by rethinking the way in which we design and reuse wine products. Our special guests today, who I will introduce in a minute, are going to tell us about practical solutions that circular economy can offer to the wine industry in order to reduce the amount of waste that we generate across the entire value chain. My name is Marta Juega. I work for Alliance Wine. I am the winemaker and sustainability manager. And I have with me today Stephanie Barger, who is the director of Truth Certification at Zero Waste Program and Market Transformation and Business Development in the US Green Building Council. Welcome, Stephanie. We also have today with us Patricia Berardi, who is an international researcher and a university teacher specializing in circularity, and also a wine producer in Textura Wines, which is a winery that is based in the Down region in Portugal. Welcome, Patricia. Thanks for being here today. And finally, we also have Michele Manelli, who is the founder and CEO of Cantina Salcheto in Montepulciano in Italy. Welcome, Michele. Thanks for being here today. Before we start, I would like to introduce Porto Protocol. Porto Protocol is an international community for wine industry members who share a common goal, the mitigation and adaptation of climate change across the whole value chain within the wine industry. The main objective for the Porto Protocol is to offer a community in which international members can offer and share practical solutions to environmental challenges that unfortunately we all face today. I encourage everyone in this talk today to join the Porto Protocol in order to share your experience and enable the wine industry as a whole to become more resilient. After this short presentation, I would like to start with a question for all our guests in order to become more familiar with your organizations. What are your main internal operations when it comes to reducing the amount of waste in your organization? Patricia, maybe would you like to start with this question for us, please?
Hello, everyone. Thanks to the Porto Protocol for this invitation. Thanks to Marta Juega for the introduction. I'm going to try to give some experiences that we have. We are in my project concerning the Down region, the wine production. We are a new project. We started back in 2018. So this is a new world for us, a new life. And we try to put our values, our personal and professional values, my husband, Marcelo, and I. And as I am oriented to sustainable development strategies, because I am a social environmental manager and professor, focus on circular economy principles, we started by rethink process. We analyze alternatives. We try to reuse all kinds of resources. Then we manage our production to optimize the usage of resources. We recover an abundant textile factory from the last century in Serra da Estrela. We add only natural and recyclable materials guided to the efficiency use of resources. We don't want to take care of waste. This is our philosophy. So we prefer not to have them. From the beginning, we decided to build a waste water treatment station, not only to treat waste, but to be able to reuse this resource. So we constantly research in different types of packaging. We do not use wooden boxes. When reuse is no longer possible, then we sell the byproducts, or after that we sort and send them to recycling. What's not the best use, but we try to solve everything when it's possible, but we still are learning in the process.
Thanks, Patricia. Maybe Michele, could you add something to this question in order to get more familiar with your organization, please?
Well, I think that Patricia really started with focusing the main point, which is planning and having in mind when you make your organizational project, or you're planning your product or your process, that you have a waste issue, and it's active in the sense of how much waste do I produce even within the borders of the winery, and also there is the more indirect, let's say, dynamic of which waste do I generate at the end consumer level, and so what's happening with my packaging, for example. So we worked on all those directions over time at the same time, and the first move actually a long time ago, when still the organization of your internal waste was to bring it into a bin at some point, where then it was collected by the local territorial organizations. We decided to ask for an authorization to work our own waste. So we created a specific place where we differentiated our waste, and we asked for an authorization to transport ourselves what was left over directly to the factories of the local waste management companies, because we wanted to be aware of what we were really producing, and we wanted to find a way to treat them and to maybe reuse them. And that's actually what happened. We have over time created a byproduct, quite structured. For example, glasses, we learned how to cut them and we sell them. We have them in our price list, or we have created sunglasses. Actually, the sunglasses that actually they are normal, but just to show you a model, this is in a recycled leather that we buy. We don't. But then the glasses are made for example, with the barrels that are exhausted at end of life barrique, and then this is a bioplastic that we found. It's still another byproduct within the Italian in the cotton industry. So yeah, that was, for example, another byproduct. We have another couple of things. So yeah, we did work a lot in this sense. We also have at an indirect level, we found other solutions, like for example, providing the opportunity to our clients to have a second life for our packaging. The first example was made actually in 2009-10, a long time ago. It was this box. It was made with recycled pellet, our broken pellet. Inside, the bottles were divided with the ecological diaper. So within the box, we were providing also the instruction. There is a booklet, but the funny thing was the seeds of sage and rosemary, so that you could create a garden of seed of sage and rosemary for the house. Now we evolved a little bit. Now we have a line. I can't show it to you because it's about we call it Pinocchio. It's a line of gadgets that can be inserted in our wooden box to create toys for the kids, or a little furniture like a little table for the living room, a lamp for the bedroom. I mean, we did the work on those kind of ideas. We had and we have always worked over time in this direction. By the way, there was one very scenic also exercise that we did in 2015. This was really a unique piece, but we created a booth at Vinitaly, the main wine fair we participate to annually. Actually, we arrived there without any furniture and any material, just with tools and 5 artists, and we created a 32 square meter booth only with the waste that we found within the fair, thrown away by a colleague that were installing there. And this was really fantastic. It was crazy. And so I'm not here to pretend that we can easily reproduce such a solution, but we wanted to demonstrate to our clientele the idea that you can, if you plan things differently, if you look at them in a different way, a waste can be a resource. This is evident, and I'm not reinventing anything here.
Well, that's incredible, isn't it? I would like to ask you one question before I move into you, Stephanie. When you were mentioned, my feeling is that when you talk about reusing, you find necessary collaboration with other sectors, because you're talking about creating different products for waste that you generate in the winery. How difficult is that? To try to find collaboration with other sectors outside the wine industry in order to reuse, or convert your waste into byproducts?
Well, of course, the complication is that it's often not our business, so we don't have a know-how. I mean, for example, the most evident making glasses, it's a complex other job, and so the first problem is time consuming, is to find the energy and the time to look into other fields, find other experts that can support you, consultants or things like that. So it is certainly complicated. I have to say that it's, more probably, I have the feeling that it's less and less complicated, because you find easily people willing to cooperate in this specific project, circular, valuable, highly communicatable, if I may, in the sense. So even for like a partnership which can look a little bit, not the piece of cake. We're not coming to offer expertise or a distribution setup to, for example, a glassmaker that helped us, because we did get the help of Italian glassmaker of the district of glassmaking in Northeast Italy, but it was easier once you were providing them those kind of you were proposing to work with something valuable. For sure, the problem is the lack of know-how, the specific know-how in different fields, and the time-consuming aspect. But it's at the same time less complicated than we think.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Stephanie, would you like to add something in order to get more familiar with your organization, please?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. And you're in great hands with Patricia and Michele and the work they're doing. It warms my heart. So as you stated, Marta, I'm with the U.S. Green Building Council and Green Business Certification, Inc. for global organizations working to transform the built world and the farm world, agricultural. So we're very excited with our true certification in the wine industry. Fetzer Wines is certified, so large wineries to small boutique wineries such as Spotswood, also entire companies like Bronco Wines, and of course they're one of the largest distributors in the US of all types of wines and alcohol. So working at all different levels, and also working at the retail level, with stores like Whole Foods and other in restaurants. So I think what True brings to the conversation is, number one, we are a leadership certification. So we don't, unfortunately, locally, regionally, globally, we do not have a circular economy, a zero waste economy, a closed loop economy. So we are working with and depending on our companies to help create that. And also, what we really help with is advocacy and bringing people together and sharing all of these incredible resources. So like here in the state of California, working together with nonprofits, with government agencies, we have now banned any type of compostable materials from our landfills. And this is so critical to get it back on the farms, the vineyards. We're in a 10-year drought, our soils are depleted, and this is one of the most valuable ways that you can, sequester carbon and reduce your greenhouse gases. Then also we work with the operations, and this is what we encourage with our companies, the wineries, is to take out the big composting part of it and really look at your everyday operations, from your offices to your restaurants to your bottling, and focus on redesign, remanufacture, rethink, retrain, and then of course reduce and reuse. And repair is a critical one, especially if you're working with machinery. You can save thousands and thousands of dollars by old school repairing, and we've had companies do that. I think the other thing we bring to the conversation is the financial savings that comes from switching to really looking at everything not as waste. And I would encourage us to eliminate the word waste from our management systems, from what we're using, in our sorting and in our thinking, and to really focus on materials and commodities. Everything is recyclable, as Michele has shown, or remanufactured. We just need to get the volume to create the markets to do that. And then also, I think what's really been done with our companies is once you start source separating your material, then you can see the volume, and then you can start reducing that volume. So just even like with wood pallets, of course, reusing them, but setting up a repair operation, and then looking at the packaging, as Patricia and Michele have shown, that, why do we have all this packaging? And then because we're talking about circularity here, we focus on that upstream of you working with all your vendors and all of your suppliers. If we can help them reduce and reuse, they save money, you save money, and then we have less hard to recycle materials to deal with at the end. So with the True program, we focus on what you are purchasing. And if everything you're purchasing is repairable, returnable, reusable, you can get to zero waste. And as I tell my clients, I would much rather dig through my purchasing invoices than dig through a dumpster. And so we're very excited to be part of this coalition and to support you any way we can. We're right now have certified facilities in over 30 countries. And I would encourage even wineries to partner with other types of companies to create that zero waste coalition. And that's what I love. I'll just end with this. Zero waste is creative, it's exciting, it's collaborative, and we like to call it a team sport, because when everybody is participating on the team, all of your employees, all of your partners, that's when you see the big wins and the big financial savings, and of course, growing those markets, those commodities. So everybody gets paid, and we close the loop on it.
Thanks, Stephanie. I have a question for you. When it comes to moving one company from this this linear economy mentality, which we create, we use, and we throw away, I will say, to a circular economy mentality in which we reuse, we repair, what is the most challenging thing that you have found so far?
Unfortunately, it's the mindset. Mm-hmm. So it's just been ingrained in us that, number one, you can just throw it away and not think about it again. And that happens in single stream recycling, mixed recycling. People just throw things in that recycling bin and they don't follow it to where it goes, and they don't buy it back. And if you're not buying it back, it's not recycling. So in our certification, we spend a lot of time training all the employees, making sure that all your employees have a very high environmental literacy, and then that leadership is 100% on board. And I think we've all experienced that. If leadership is not on board, you're going to keep running into these barriers and challenges. But when the owner of the company says, we're doing this, and of course, I only talk about financial benefits when I'm talking to leadership, because that's what really motivates them. And this is about doing with less. You know, I think one thing that always comes up is, oh, we're going to have more bins if we're sorting. Well, it's the same amount of materials, and your trash bin is going to get smaller and smaller. And also, if you have a trash bin, you're inefficient, right? You're paying for materials once, you're paying for your employees to handle them, and then you're paying to have it hauled away. So we want to get rid of that hard to recycle bin, because that is just creating not only waste, material waste, but wasteful financial habits, wasteful employee work habits, and your employees will be motivated even more if they know that you're setting up programs that will save them money. So I think, you know, focusing on that culture, and then making sure they know it's possible. And that's what we love about our companies getting certified, because it proves it is possible. And we have a very comprehensive program that hits every single area and makes sure that there's a high integrity when these companies are saying they're true zero waste. So, you know, and just so you know, our certification is 90% and over, with continual improvement to 100% diversion. But we focus more on policies and practices versus just having it go to a recycling bin, you know. So I think showcasing the wonderful work, and I'd love to work with you with other glass companies. I want some of those eyeglasses, sunglasses. I think that's just fabulous. And that's what consumers are looking for nowadays. So it's a win-win-win.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that you mentioned something really important: formalized process and policies. I think that that's something that we keep on forgetting when it comes to the wine industry in general, because sometimes we are pretty traditional, I will say, and we need to formalize policies and procedures in order to communicate to employees and put into practice. I completely agree. Thanks for that, Stephanie. I have another question for Patricia and Michele. When it comes to vineyard operations, what is the main type of waste that you generate, and what are the initiatives that you introduce so as to minimize it? Maybe, Patricia, would you like to start with this one?
Yes, okay. So in my project, we own 28 hectares of vineyards. 6 of them were planted 2 years ago, and the rest were old vineyards that we regenerated in organic viticulture and certified this year. We have 2 main sources of waste generation. One is from pruning, that after discarding any diseased plants, we shred our pruning waste into the soil. The second one is the green waste from harvest and cleaning the property. This is around 30 tons, which is a lot for us. And in this case, we shred green waste and stems into compost piles along with other organic matters from local producers. We mixed this organic waste generated by 2 local farmers. One is from rabbits and other is poultry. And in the end, we have a high quality compost that we use for us, and also we donate to other local producers.
So that's another example of collaboration, isn't it, in the wine industry, how to use waste, organic waste in this particular case, in order to create a product together and then share with other sectors. That's correct? That's the philosophy?
It. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We work with local other producers, and we had like a problem, and we tried to solve our common problem with our a common solution. So we try to figure out how to manage this, and we could realize a good solution for us.
Yeah, that's a great example. Michele, would you like to share with us?
Yeah, of course, Patricia pointed out the main issues. I may add only much minor, but we challenged also we chose a material for the tying of the plant to the structure of the vineyard in a degradable material. That was something that we have, of course, done, and so in a way that was it becomes a waste, but at least it's an organic material that integrates into the soil. Then, of course, yeah, the problem of the waste from the pruning is an issue. We instead had as a solution we feed our biomass burner that creates energy. So we produce energy with that pruning. It was not easy, I have to say. In Europe, there's been a kind of it has not been promoted. It's exactly the way around. The regulations on wood chips that come from forestry have been excluding the kind of material that is resulting from vine and olive tree, which are similar pruning. So we had to work out of the standards. So adapt some heating burners, the burning machines, the burning engines, let's say. I don't know how to find the right word, but anyway, to be able to do that. And so it was not that easy, but it's possible. It's definitely possible. Then regarding the other waste, which is grape, because also grape is after fermentation is a grape, together with, of course, the rest of eventual other result from gardening and so on. We compost. We have gone for compost. So we have a big composting area with the skins, with all the waste from the restaurant. We have a significant incoming operation at the winery, which creates a lot of organic waste, and so we do enrich the compost with that, together with some purchase to create a good recipe. We are able to create a good quality compost that we address to the best vineyards fertilization. And from the vineyard, that's more or less this. I would add that unluckily we still have a problem of. We also have a problem. I don't know how it's the regulation around the wine world, but there is a sensitive also water waste from in farming related to the washing of the sprayers and the tractors. For this, we have long time ago created a specific depuration, so dedicated to it, so as to be treating it in the proper way. And there is still, even though it looks minor, but there is still a problem in the purchase of material let's say any kind of raw material that are used for the medical treatment of the vineyards or the fertilization itself. If there is anything to add, there is still we produce some kind of waste of secondary packaging primary packaging for these materials, which are often very because of the concentration even of sulfur and copper. We are organic, but still even that is creating is making this waste become a high risk kind of waste, so not differentiable in a normal bin, even if it's paper or plastic. And so in this sense, our industry, we didn't find a solution. So if anyone has a solution there, but or to eventually to be probably also suggested to our suppliers of those kind of materials. But yet there is an issue there that is in our we didn't solve yet.
Well, yeah, I guess that there are many challenges that we all need to approach, and that's a good example, Michele. I have heard this problem before, so hopefully a solution will come up at some point for all of us. Stephanie, I had a question for you. In your particular case, take into account the nature of your business when it comes to agricultural activities such as wine growing for us in this particular case. What is the most challenging waste stream?
It's the packaging. I think especially for boutique wineries, a lot of them, you're only bottling maybe 6 to 8 weeks out of the year. So you don't have this consistent stream to get to markets and build that. And then a lot of in Napa, in the small boutiques, they use a distributor that they're sending out their gift boxes and everything. So, and wine is very particular, right? You have to worry about the temperature, the breakage. It's like even when people visit Napa and then want to take it home on the airplane, they have to package it and all the styrofoam and everything. So I think, Michele, you've done a great job of showing alternatives to packaging. And once again, I think that's where we need to be really creative and just to reduce unnecessary packaging. And I think this goes with the glass bottles. There is a movement here to try and get reusable wine bottles and to not have these custom wine bottles and focus me more on the labeling to make it special versus the shape of the bottle, and that we can have this returnable, reusable process. So I think that is the most challenging. And once again, if the markets don't exist, these items are recyclable, but if you're not source separating them and you don't have markets that are local and close, people just bang their heads against the wall trying to fix it. But this is where these collaboratives are so critical. And then partnering with other businesses in your area. I think that is the most exciting when you have a hard to recycle material and another business finds it as a valuable resource. So I think really focusing on that because, of course we want the compost to be composted, but some of the most toxic and most damaging is that packaging that's made from petroleum-based materials. We have the extraction, the transportation, and then, it contaminates our water streams, our air streams, and our land, and of course, the natural environment.
Yeah, I do agree, Stephanie. Thanks for your question. There is a question along with this comment. We were talking about water. And water is a natural resource that we use quite a lot in the wine industry for cleaning activities and production activities in general. In areas with drought problems, one is normally think about ways to reduce the amount of water that they use in their internal operations. But not all of them try to reduce water internally and therefore minimize the amount of water waste that we create. Could you share any examples, any practical examples on how to reduce water in your organizations?
I'll just go quickly first. I think number one, it's once again in that purchasing and that unsustainable packaging. People don't realize how much water it takes to create styrofoam, right? People don't want to use reusable dishes in their facility. They want to use, throwaway cups and everything in their facility. And they don't realize how much, because they're going to wash dishes, but they don't realize how much water is used from extraction and manufacturing. I think Setzer, like Patricia, has done an incredible job with their water treatment system and making sure that they're recycling it. So I think there's a lot to be learned from other industries, especially in manufacturing liquid processes and connecting with the farm industry. I think it's really fabulous that the beer industry in California collaborates with the wine industry, collaborates with the mushroom industry, collaborates with the lettuce industry. So once again, your water waste might be very useful for somebody else. And also, if we're going to natural systems, and I'm not real familiar with winemaking, but if we're not putting toxins into our system, then it's much easier to put that water back onto the farms, and then it percolates down and refills our aquifers. So I think, eliminating as many toxins as possible, and that includes petroleum-based fertilizers, and why it's so important to use composting. If you use organic composting, you save anywhere from 35 to 40% of your water usage. And I'll just end with this. I think with any material, focus on what is the biggest volume or weight. So when you're looking at your water usage, really look at where is most of your water going, and then focus on that for reduction and reuse. Sometimes we get caught up in the little things, and we need to be focusing on the bigger areas of concern.
Yeah, that's a good advice. Patricia, would you like to have kind of experience on the topic?
In our case, as we need to clean all the barrels, this is the part where we use a lot of amount of water. And as I said, we have a wastewater treatment station, but this year we have just bought an ozone machine to help us to clean the inside barrels. And with this machine, we already have a really efficiency process that cuts the water by half. So we are trying not only to reuse water, but to use as a better way and to reduce this huge volume that we need to clean our equipment and our barrels. So we are trying to look other solutions to minimize the usage of this resource.
Interesting. Michele, do you have any practical example to share with us on this topic as well? I'm sure you have.
The only one I would say is don't buy a too big reservoir of water. And in the sense that experience how bad it is to be without water. No, in the sense I'm kind of joking, but it's actually something that happened over time, and we understood that if you understand that there is a limit, that it's limited in a way, then you find the solution, the little solution. Because sometimes it can be a rope for going out cleaning with closing at the operator can just close it and open when it really needs the water without, for example, or controlling the quantity of water coming out of a high pressure machine, or actually, as Patricia did, finding cleaning alternative low impact solution like ozone. We use it too, and it's really going out and measure really what you need. Don't just say it's unlimited, so we can just do in whatever way we want, and don't, because that's always it's always a matter of planning, thinking, and then the solution comes. But yeah, in a way, I would say set up limits. That's my 2 cents suggestion.
Yeah, that's common sense. I think that sometimes we forget that circular economy is also based on common sense. We only formalize common sense with policies and processes, but circular economy also has that kind of function. No, they allow us to use common sense and formalize common sense. So it is interesting because water is a natural resource. We never had problems with water up to now, and now we start to think how to limit the amount of water that we use, but we never thought about it. So now we are in a situation where we need to start to think about these things. So that's a great advice, Michele. I would say. We were talking about efficiency. You mentioned Stephanie and also Patricia. So Stephanie, that was a question I want to ask you. When it comes to minimize waste in our internal operations, efficiency is something crucial, I would say. So could you give us some examples how the true certification zero waste program are helping sector to become more efficient?
Sure. So I think number one, your bin placement is really key. So you need to really do a floor plan of your facility where all the bins are inside and out. So if somebody's working on a manufacturing line, you want to make sure that their bins are the right material bins that they need and the right placement. So this is from Toyota, but some of your employees are left-handed. So it might be that the bins need to be accessible to people that are left-handed or right-handed. So I know those are simple things, but it's really about thinking through your material management plan the same way that you think through, your manufacturing plan and your safety plans. So, and then get rid of excess bins. We have bins all over the place, and you need to cluster them together. And that reduces bag liners. It reduces wasted time for people to pick up all those materials. And so that's the very simple with efficiency. And then once again, it comes down to purchasing. And make sure you are purchasing from vendors that have your same goals and missions in line. Because otherwise, they're shipping you all this excess packaging, and then your employees are having to spend hours and hours opening up and dealing with all this excess packaging, and then throwing it away or recycling it. So, I think the biggest people we need to work with are design engineers and packaging designers. So really bring in your marketing team and your purchasing department to work through this efficiency. And you are not a recycler or a composter, or a waste hauler. So the more that you can reduce all those material streams, the more efficient you will be. And then I'll end with the efficiency is listen to your employees. They are handling these materials every day, and they know what is inefficient and what's getting in their way and where the wastefulness is happening. So that's why we really encourage that all employees are on your green team and that you're educating all of them so that they can participate and really help you develop the robust zero waste plan. So hopefully that is a helpful answer.
Yeah, that's super helpful and informative. I think that sometimes we forget how important training is when it comes to circular economy and other environmental standards or social standards for everyone within the company, because it's not just about leadership. positions that should learn about environmental, social standards is everyone within the company in order to be part of the culture. You mentioned something, how to rethink, the design of the products. I would like to ask Michele and Patricia if they can share with us ideas how one is going to start to rethink the design of their products in order to reduce inorganic waste. Maybe Michele, would you like to start with that?
Well, let's say that every part of the packaging has is a potential criticity, and so we need to ask ourselves every time we are projecting the same question: how is it produced? Because that's also important. The impact of the production in terms of the several footprints that we can measure is certainly a great issue. And then the recyclability is another issue. So what we did, of course, was we tried to find alternative to glass. Glass is one of the biggest issues that we have in wine. Now it is very good in a way in recyclability, but its recyclability in fact is tied to the problem of reusing the same energy just as much as the one needed to produce it. So in fact it's not a real solution, paradoxically, even though of course it's necessary to recycle, otherwise we don't have an unlimited quantity of silicium that we can extract to produce glass. But in terms of at least the climate footprint, it's not an ideal solution. We have actually introduced a bag-in-box, and we have now 2 bag-in-box in our portfolio that are impressive in terms of carbon footprint compared to the glass container. Even though our glass container is the lightest possible, below 380 grams, it has been and locally produced. We did a lot, but still the bag-in-box. Consider that our bag-in-box can reach a carbon negative, at least at the gate of the winery, thanks to the absorption, of course, to the offset made by the vineyard. So direct absorption of carbon, so which is not possible even with the light glass. Even though we have tried to introduce several solutions in the cellar too for the energy savings. So, but the bag-in-box, even though this is already embedded in the carbon footprint, has a problem of recyclability, because the multi-layer bag is not recyclable in most places around the world. So it's not an ideal waste. Even I repeat, even though this is at least at the climate impact level already embedded in the improvement. Then the point is, every time you have a window of change, you have to ask yourself, is there something better? We are changing our bottle in next February, March, because we are now moving to a new, we have created our own bottle to start the path to try to reduce further the weight of the bottle. And so we asked if there was any better solution for the capsule label and so on. And we actually at the moment now we are, for example, it's nearly decided that we are moving from the aluminum capsule, which is not perfectly recyclable. As you know, there is a multi-layer. There's a layer of plastic inside, which makes the recyclability not perfectly clean in the process, and also typically it's not easy to remove it from, and so it becomes a disturb for the recycling, even though it's possible. So basically, we now have reached the solution of a capsule in PET, which is recyclable 100%, which now you can find also recycled. Part of the plastic is the PET is also already. We found a solution at up to 35% recycled material, and of course, as I said, 100% recyclable, peelable, so you can so you can suggest the consumer to take the capsule. When they open the capsule, there is nothing left around the bottle. So this is helping, of course, the recycling plants, and because the differentiation of the waste is clean in this sense. It's very clean. You take off, peel all the capsule and throw it in the plastic bin because it's a recyclable material. And so this is of course the way we have. We try to continuously improve. When you have a window of change, you try to look for the current best solution and try to find a better mix, and always better mix. There, as I probably just mentioned, there is never a perfect solution, but there is always at least something that makes a sense of improvement into a certain direction.
Yeah, I guess this is the line that many wineries are trying to follow: continuous improvement when it comes to packaging, because there are new things on the market as well that help us to become more sustainable when it comes, and more circular, no? When it comes to packaging items. But as I completely agree, continuous improvement is the way to go, ideally. Patricia, would you like to add something?
Well, I think that we have the same problem. Rethink how to design our products. This is our daily question, and we try to find different solutions. We have already studied different materials or forms in the bottling process, but as Stephanie and Michele said, packaging, it's a huge problem. In our case, as we export and we have an individual as a final consumer, logistics is the big challenge for us. So because some wineries, they have other types of consumers, like it's possible to have big bottles or other types of packaging, and this is really challenged today. We designed a paper box for transporting wine with at least use of materials. We have a light bottles and light packagings. We use less pigments, but we know that this is not enough. We need to go further and to try other solutions. We need to educate the market, of course, as Michele said. But I think that we still need to keep going in this process, because in the end, we still doing more recycling than other things. So we need to have better ideas and to have more designers helping us in this process.
Yeah, I completely agree. My feeling is that recycling should be always the last option. We always need to think about what we can do first. But yeah, I completely agree. It's almost time. We have 5 minutes left. This was an amazing conversation. I have to say I have learned a lot. But before we finish, I would like to see if you can share final thoughts on recommendation to our guests for us. So I don't know, Stephanie, will you start with any final thoughts that you would like to share with us? I think.
Sure. Thank you again, and thank you for the work that everybody is doing. I think one thing is to capture all of these great ideas and put them into case studies, and that's what we try and do also, is just to get the message out and make it very accessible to anybody. Most of our webinars are free, our resources are free, so please go to our website. And then that collaboration. And then I think the most critical thing we can do is two things: is get rid of the word waste so that we understand everything is a valuable material. Indigenous people never had the word waste. So if we can get rid of that word, it will help change that mindset. And then I think just get started. You don't have to be zero waste. You don't have to be circular. If you're just recycling one thing and buying it back, or repairing your wood pallets, or reducing a little bit of packaging, or train your employees, just get started, because that one thing has a huge impact, and it has a ripple impact. And I will end that we need to make it very accessible to everybody, because it's great to have leaders, but with the state of how we are, we have to expedite everything that we're doing and get it out to everybody. So thank you again for inviting me.
Thanks to you, Stephanie. Michele, any final thoughts to your guests, please, that you would like to share?
Well, I think that Stephanie is right. What you are doing at Porto Protocol is already my wish. You are trying to create the network of know-how, the sharing the sharing of know-how, and this is and this in a system which is very fragmented, like we are in wine. We are hundreds of thousands of small operators, and I mean, as Patricia was saying, we can't. Very often, the barrier for in finding a solution is it's impossible for us to have enough energy or resources to push for innovation or new technologies, or to find an existing technology. So I think that this is really a great opportunity that you are putting together. One last thing I would say is that I hear more often, it was mentioned today, but we didn't have, of course, time to talk about it, is that but I have the sentiment that it's a rising expectation. We need to sit down and find and research again together, because we need a lot of energy there too, on how eventually to reuse bottles without recycling them, and so this is a point we've launched here internally our let's say long-term goal in this sense to test, but again we need to find to share and to find and to support each other. If we want to try to eventually even test a potential solution in this sense, because it needs to estimate if it's really affordable, the logistic on how to move those bottles, the way to clean them, and then the standardization of a minimum standardization of the bottle required. I don't know, whatever are the challenges. I think that later soon we need to start looking in this direction, because it could be of course upfront an incredible improvement for our industry, because this is definitely it's one of the biggest impact that we have also in terms of real waste creation, and again in ways that can become a resource if we very easily.
Thanks, Michele. Patricia, any final thoughts?
I think that we need to be more creative, as Michele showed us, and look for local solutions, not just for the wine chain, because I think that we can share and improve a lot with other chains. And we need to take care of local population, listening and looking for better ways to increase the efficiency and try to develop the optimal use of resources. We have technology, we have know-how, we need to be more aggressive to find circular business models. Otherwise, it will not be sustainable any longer. So I think that Porto Porto Protocol is such a good way that we can meet each other and try to see other experiences and other alternatives. So good to have you here. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Patricia. I completely agree. Collaboration is key. And I think that the Porto Protocol is a great community to do that. So once again, thank you very much, all of you. It was an amazing experience. I hope you had a good time as I did, and you learned something new from each other, which is the main objective, these climate talks. Once again, as I say, thanks a lot, and I hope to see you soon.